Well, good morning, my friends, my friends. I think I'm live. Yes, am I live? Looks like I'm live. Good morning. Welcome to A Creative Healing Place. My name is Benjamin Blackett. I'm a life mastery consultant, motivational speaker, and transcendence facilitator. And my 5 minutes past 9 this morning is 10 minutes past 9. I forgot to allow for a couple of things in my timing this morning. But here we are. We've got a new book to start today in our morning mindset book studies. And those of you who have found your way here for that and find your way here for those on a regular basis, you know who I am and what's going on, kind of, sort of. Essentially, if you're new and you don't know, I read through books, giving commentary, giving insight, giving little anecdotes from my own life, sharing with you books that help bring us to having a better day, having a better way of living our lives, a better way of being with ourselves. And as Cindy Clark has just done, good morning, Cindy. She says, good morning, Benjamin, and all. As she has just done, if you want to take a moment to tune in, to sign in as you've tuned in, to let me know that you're here. It always makes life more interesting for me. I think it makes it more interesting for you as well to know that you feel attached, connected to a piece of community where we're all in this together doing these book studies. And so I gave you a little preview of this on Thanksgiving Day, and I'm going to run this one a little differently because the poem of the invitation, The Invitation is the book that we're starting today. It's by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. And if you're interested in seeing what the book looks like, this is the book, The Invitation. Oriah Mountain Dreamer, she's Native American. And this book is a bit of a journey. It's a little something. So buckle your seatbelt and come on in and enjoy it and get ready for a ride. The thing that's going to be different about this is that I am going to read the poem, The Invitation, every morning, just because it will help. That way I won't have to really backtrack to the other reading. And the book begins this way, The Invitation, with this poem. And this is her poem, her invitation. It's an invitation. You know, when I first read it, I thought it was an invitation as a partner, but it's an invitation to each one of us for our lives. And so I hope you can receive it that way. She says, "It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty, every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes! It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. That is the invitation, and the invitation to us, each of us, to have a fuller, richer life, to step into the power of ourselves. So her book then goes on to discuss the poem, and she starts this way: accepting the invitation. This is the first chapter. Starts on page 3 if you're following in books at home, if some of you ran out to get it. Once in a while, we are given moments of real grace. Sometimes during my early morning meditation, a place within me opens and parts of myself let go that I did not know even were holding on. In these moments, I feel all the hard places in my heart and body yield to a great softness carried on my breath, and I am filled with compassion for the part of me that is always trying, always organizing, problem solving, anticipating. And my mind stops and simply follows my breath. A great faith washes through me, and knowing that everything that needs to get done will get done, my shoulders drop an inch. The small but familiar ache in my chest eases, and the moment stretches. There is enough time, enough energy, enough of all that is needed. Great way to start us off, don't you think? There's always enough. A great tenderness for myself and the world opens inside me, and I know I belong to this time, to these people, to this earth, and to something that is both within and larger than all of it. Something that sustains and holds us all. I do not want to be anywhere else. I am filled with commitment to and compassion for myself and the world. It sounds like a really empowering way to live, don't you think? I love the way she starts this. Rising from my cushion, I move unhurriedly toward my day. As I step into the bathroom, I catch a glimpse of the quiet half-smile on my face, dissolving into a grimace of disgust as cold water soaks through my clean white socks. All semblance of graceful ease shatters in the shrill cry of a banshee as I survey the aftermath of my teenage son's showers. Pools of water on the tile floor, several wet towels in a heap on the corner, others twisted into towel racks in configurations that could not possibly dry before the end of the millennium. The shower curtain half in, half out of the tub, bunched and folded to maximize the growth of mildew and mold. Have you woken up to find that kind of thing in your house? Later, after cleaning, and I'm asking, this is fun to read, and it's also a little humorous because it's so real. This is like how life can be, and you know, my life looks completely different. I don't have the experience of having teenage sons, but we can identify, right? And this is the way we share about our lives. We share the stories of our lives, and it helps us have freedom. So later, after cleaning up, my younger son, Nathan, speaks to me as I sit at the kitchen table with a cup of hot tea. I know we shouldn't leave the bathroom such a mess, Mom, he says cautiously, trying to sound reasonable, but I think leaving wet towels on the floor is probably pretty normal behavior for teenage boys. Not that we should do it, he adds hurriedly as I pierce him with a look over the rim of my cup. But if that's the worst thing we do, you really don't have too much to worry about, do you? You know, if I had a teenage son who handed that to me for a conversation and an explanation of the behavior, I don't know if I couldn't help but laugh. I can't help but laugh, she says. He's right, of course. This is the reality we live, aspiring to be at our best, longing for sometimes finding meaning and connection within ourselves and with that which is larger than ourselves, We are undone by messy bathrooms, traffic jams, and burnt toast. I am not interested in the spirituality that cannot encompass my cannot encompass my humanness, nor am I, for that matter, and this is one of the reasons I come to these studies with you. I find little comfort or guidance in traditional dogma or unqualified New Age optimism, because beneath the small daily trials are harder paradoxes, things the mind cannot reconcile but the heart must hold of if we are to live fully. Profound tiredness and radical hope, shattered beliefs and relentless faith, the seemingly contradictory longings for personal freedom, and a deep commitment to others for solitude and intimacy, for the ability to simply be with the world, and the need to change what we know is not right about how we are living. The invitation, she has in quotation marks, is a declaration of intent, a map into the longing of the soul, a desire to live passionately, face to face with ourselves and skin to skin with the world around us, to settle for nothing less than what is real. I have to check my time. Okay, we're okay. This book is a journey into the territory mapped out by the invitation. If we are to traverse this territory together, there are some things you should know, because simply saying yes to the invitation, feeling the pull of the heart, or the quickening of the blood that urges movement forward is not the same thing as actually making the journey. So this is the invitation to the journey. I want to live with deep intimacy every day in my life. I am guided sometimes, driven by an ache to take the necessary risks that will let me live close to what is within and around me. And I am sometimes afraid that it will be too much, that I will not have or be connected to whatever it takes to be with it, to bear the exquisite beauty and bone-wrenching sorrow of being fully alive, knowing how frightening both the beauty and the pain can be. And it can be, right? I offer you here at the beginning of this journey 3 promises that are simultaneously 3 warnings. Sounds good, right? First, the places foreshadowed in the invitation are not metaphorical, they are actual. When I say that I want to know if you can get up night after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. Oops, I don't have the right page. I don't mean I want to know if you have good intentions or if you can afford to pay someone else to care for those who need your attention. I want to know if you really can get up with nothing when nothing in you wants to do anything but stay beneath the covers. I want to know if you can do the small, mundane but necessary tasks, if you can give what is needed when you feel you have nothing left to give. When I ask if you can be alone with yourself, I'm not asking if the idea of being alone appeals to you, but if you can actually be present with yourself for longer than a couple of hours without flipping on the TV or the radio or picking up the telephone or a magazine. Or, and this was written long enough ago that would also include without surfing on the internet. If you can truly find and be at peace with your own company, she says. The first warning, then, is also the first promise of if this book succeeds in actually taking you into the territory of the invitation, you'll experience not just read about the ache, the sorrow, the joy, the courage, and the peace. The personal stories I share here, and this is Oriah Mountain's Dreamer, and I just have to say, I'm really thrilled to bring this to you. It's fun to bring someone else's stories to you. She's got some great stories in here. The personal stories I share here are not important in themselves. We all have 1,000 stories, and my life has had no more or fewer than others. But stories carefully chosen and shaped by both the teller and the listener can open gateways into our interior landscape, can reveal the meaning in our lives enfolded in the details and unfolded in their telling and conscious contemplation. I promise that I will not pretend to know something I have not experienced, nor will I try to increase our comfort with each other by feigning confusion where I have knowledge. And by the way, this promise that she makes with us is the same promise that I make with you whenever I've got my teachings. So if you are new to me, if this is something that you're not familiar with, then know that that's true of me. I'll read this last paragraph and then we will pause here. This then leads to the second warning and promise. The consequences of moments of deep intimacy with yourself, another, or the world are completely unpredictable. When we learn how to truly be present with our joy and our sorrow, with our longing and our desires, layer upon layer of ourselves and the world are revealed. We cannot know in advance what this revelation will look like or what action it will inspire or compel us to take. I have watched participants at workshops. I have facilitated circle a moment of anticipated intimacy with their own desires, catch the scent of a portended change on the wind, and turn and flee the very thing they came seeking, a deeper connection with the self and spirit, for fear of what it would call upon them to do in their lives. If we have based parts of our lives on lies, on truths that no longer hold, however well-intentioned or unconscious, the changes that deep intimacy evokes can look very dangerous. And here's the thing, is some of you are just following me through from having read The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. They are invitations to be impeccable with our word. And they are invitations for us to not take things personally, and for us to, we just finished reading the book, for us to be able to take a look at ourselves and to be able to do our best, right? There's an invitation for that, and it can look very dangerous when we're changing things, when we look. But she says we cannot tell in advance which aspects of our carefully constructed sense of self, if any, will survive. This is the good news and the bad. If you take the journey, real change is possible and inevitable, and, from the present vantage point, completely unpredictable. So that's what we're coming in for. Let's see. Actually, I'll give you the third one too. I can give you this and then pause. The third warning holds yet another promise. No part of the journey is wasted. Once you recognize within yourself a hunger for something beyond just continuing, once you taste even the possibility of touching the meaning enfolded in your life, you can never be completely content with just going through the motions. There is no going back. Learning cannot be undone. It's like when you see something, you know that you cannot unsee it, right? The wisdom touched in moments of real intimacy penetrates the soul with knowledge of who and what we are. It transforms us. And I think I will pause right there. I think that's a fantastic place to pause. We have those first three commitments that she makes to us, right? And with that, we will be back tomorrow morning, hopefully at 9:05. I'm going for 9:05 tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's Thursday. I should be 9:05. And we will continue with day 2 of this book study, The Invitation. And we will carry on as I have declared. And so, awesome. Thank you, Cindy. Excellent, 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 excellent. Number 3, warning holds you to promise. No part of the journey is wasted. And that's actually a big thing because, often we get into, I'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow morning as we carry on. Anyhow, I'm delighted that you're here with me. I'm always delighted to do this work, to share these readings, to bring us some insight, some wisdom, some upliftment, and something to help us really grab onto our lives and say, this is it, this is for me. Alrighty, that being said, I will see you tomorrow. I love to close out with good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, because some of you tune in at very different times. And those of you who do, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And actually, Cindy, you're here. I think Amy went away. anyhow, if Amy, you're still here, I hope you're having a great, fantastic day. Alrighty, I'll talk to you later. Have an amazing day. Ciao for now.